Kwaba, welcome to this week's edition of Ghana in Focus with myself, Kwame, Ghanaian writer, broadcaster, journalist, historian, podcaster, and entrepreneur. And in this week's episode, it's a Valentine, but it's on relationships, but we're putting a different twist on it. It's a Russian spy, Ghanaian sex. Yeah, so this is about sex tourism in Ghana. And that's the theme for this week's show, Russian spy, sex tourism in Ghana. So before we start the show, if you like what you hear, please share to your friends, family, social media networks, subscribe to Ghana African Fix on YouTube, hit the notification bell, meaning that every time we upload a new podcast, YouTube will notify you of that. Similarly, we are on Spotify. Look out for Ghana African Fix on Spotify. Hit the follow button, meaning that Spotify will inform you every time we download a new podcast. All right. And, as I mentioned last week, there's going to be a Ghana Relocation Summit. So if you are serious about wanting to relocate to Ghana, do business in Ghana, then this summit is for you. This summit is being organized by expat Tony and Ayo of Expat Life Ghana. And they've been in Ghana for nearly 6 years now. So they've built up a trusted network of lawyers, businessmen, government officials who will be speaking at this summit. So I will leave you the link, how to register. Apparently, things are going quite fast, so you need to get your skates on very, very fast if you are interested in attending this relocation summit. That's going to be held at the African Region Hotel, which is not far from the airport in Accra, between April 1 and April 2. All right, so I will leave you the link to that summit so that you can sign up for that summit. If you can't be there in person, you can also do it virtually. Yep. So there's no excuse for you not to attend this important relocation summit happening April 1, April 2 this year. So you've got a couple of months to think about it and to prepare yourself. So like I say, I'll leave you the link in the show for this to the show. All right, so let's get into the show. Russian spy, Ghanaian sex. So this week, particularly last couple of days actually, videos are going viral over a Russian guy calling himself Lasseyev, right? He's a sex tourist, by the way, gone viral that he's been found out having, luring Ghanaian girls to his hotel room or apartment and then having sex with them, yeah? So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to take it on a tangent as well, a different tangent in terms of the mindset and the sort of self-hate that some Ghanaian women have. I won't say all, but a big majority of Ghanaian women have. I've heard about African women when it comes to white men or Caucasian men. All right, so, it's like I said, it's been big news in Ghana, particularly on social media, over the last couple of days. So this Russian guy was in Ghana recently, meeting young Ghanaian women at places like the Accra Mall to chat to them, but his whole agenda was to lure them back to his hotel room and then have sexual intercourse with them. Now, sex tourism is becoming a big business in Ghana, yeah? Or in Africa, more, not just in Ghana, but the African continent, places like Kenya, Uganda, Zimbabwe, Nigeria. You have white men, going to Africa, yeah, and then having sex with loads of African women, right? Because, African women are cheap, I'm sorry to say, but a lot of them are cheap, particularly when they see a white man, someone's got white skin or pale skin, yeah? But I will explore that, in another, down the line, but not now. In this podcast, but I will explore those psychological reasons of why African women are attracted to white men, in a bit. But I just want to understand this issue that some white men are now going to Africa, right, to fulfill their sexual fantasies. And they're actually documenting this on video. And I've actually got websites that, highlight their, in quote, conquest of African Black women. So there's one such guy, and again, I'll leave the footnotes to the show. I don't know what he calls himself, but he has a website called Africa Folk Tour, where he goes on Africa having sex with women, luring them on the premise that he's a modeling agent and that he can secure the modeling contracts in the West. Yeah. So we know that a lot of people in Africa have this desire to go to the West. Yeah. And so when these white men come to, Africa, I should say sex tourists, because that's what they are, sex tourists. Yeah. And it's a business. Yeah. So when they come to Africa, right, this is how they attract women, right? They understand that, I would say, a lot of women wanted the continent, and therefore they're able to seduce them with things like, oh, I can take you to Europe, or I want to go to UK, I can take you to the UK, I can get you a modeling contract, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a photographer, blah blah blah. This is the selling point that they used to lure Ghanaian African women, right, into their bedrooms, and unknowingly, because they've got hidden cameras, again, showing you that this thing is systemic and is by design. Having sex with them with these hidden cameras all over the rooms. So let's start with first point. Why and how are these men like this Russian guy, coming to Ghana, coming to Africa as sex tourists? That's number one. We answer that by saying that, like I say, one man started the trend and others follow. So this Russian guy is the latest, yeah, in a line of white male sex tourists who see Ghana or Africa as easy haven to lure naive, suspecting Ghanaian African women. And so, and there's countries in Africa, because you can't do this in every African country, particularly the Muslim ones, right? This Russian guy could not have done what he did in Morocco, in Egypt, in Mauritania, because of the Islamic laws there. Yeah. And obviously, what he'll be doing, right, will be like kind of obvious in those Muslim countries. So he goes to countries where the rules are lax, and like, you could say they are white loving. So countries like Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, to a degree the Gambia, because sex tourism is rife in Gambia as well. Those countries are pretty, easy prey for these white male sex tourists. Yeah. So this Russian guy, was obviously tipped off by another white guy saying that, come to Ghana, come to Ghana. These girls are easy. They love us. So come to Ghana. You'll get easy sex. Yeah. And then, secondly, he went to places like Accra Mall. Who told him to go to Accra Mall and meet Ghanaian girls, as a place to meet Ghanaian girls? Who told him that? So this is what I'm saying. This thing is systemic. So somebody must have told this Russian guy that, come to Ghana, particularly Accra, right, and go to places like the Accra Mall. It's a very easy place you can meet girls. And actual fact, when I lived in Ghana, this is how loose some of our women are. Some Ghanaian women, because I'm not going to say all, but some of our women don't want to work for a living, and they want quick, easy money. So this is why, unfortunately, a lot of Ghanaian women are engaged in prostitution. Yeah. I can take you any street, anywhere in Accra, Laboni, Cantonment, East Legon, right? Latibio Kwashi, Malam, Kaswa, Budumburam. I can take anywhere in, Tama Community 8, I can take it anywhere in Accra, right? You see women doing prostitution, in Ghana, in Accra. And so who told this guy, or rather, before I get to that point, like I said, when I was in Ghana, right, these girls used to meet at they stake out places. So some of these girls who want white men, because in Ghana there are some women who don't want to be with black men because of their own self-hate. They don't want to be with any black man. They want to be with white men. Because why? Because they think that whiteness equals wealth. Rightly or wrongly, this is what many Ghanaian African women believe, that whiteness equals wealth. Yeah. And this hype is propagated in the movies, and other, particularly social media. Yeah, but definitely in the movies and on social media. This narrative that white man equals wealth. So you get some Ghanaian women going to places where these white guys hang out. So it could be places like Frankie's, which is a popular, eatery place, restaurant place, particularly amongst tourists and the white immigrant community. Yeah, they go to places like some of the nightclubs, like Jokers, like Vinicity, where a lot of these white immigrants and tourists go to. They go to places like Accra Mall, Marina Mall, where white people shop. Yeah, get the groceries. They'll target them places, and they'll target restaurants, right? Popular restaurants, particularly in Osu and Isegon, where white tourists or white immigrants, dine at. So I knew this when I lived in Ghana. This is going on, yeah. And so it's not a surprise to me that this guy was tipped off by another white guy. The Russian guy was tipped off by another white guy, saying that, you know what, when you get to Accra, get yourself an apartment near Accra Mall, and then go to Accra Mall, because Accra Mall is guaranteed to meet Ghanaian girls. And hey presto, this guy did what he was told. He got an apartment just a stone's throw away from Accra Mall. So he went to the Accra Mall, and we know that a lot of Ghanaian women, whether they're single or not single, because like I said before, in one of my podcasts about relationships in Ghana, many Ghanaian women make out that they're single, but they're not. Yeah. And so, some of these Ghanaian women hang out Accra Mall, mainly looking for rich men. Yeah. Because obviously, like I said, places like Accra Mall will attract white immigrants and also white sex tourists and white tourists per se who are in Ghana on holiday. And so these girls will go to Accra Mall in the hope of meeting a rich white guy. So this is what this Russian guy did. This Russian guy, he went to Accra Mall, and then he talked to some girls. And you will see in some of the clips that I'll leave you the actual article itself. And within the article, there are some clips that the guy posted telling you what lies he used to lure the girls to his room. And so this Russian guy, went to Accra Mall and met several women. Yeah. And then all he said is, "Hi, how are you? You looking good, blah, blah, blah. Can I have your number? Let's meet up, let's hook up." And in most cases, the Ghanaian women that he met gave them their number, and later they met up at his apartment. Yep. So, this is the trick that this guy used, yeah, to get his leg under some of our naive, gullible Ghanaian women. Apparently this guy's gone to Kenya to do the same, but we're concentrating on Ghana. And so, this guy was then able to, after meeting these girls at Accra Mall, take down their numbers, yeah, and then they obviously WhatsApped each other, and then some of them met. Obviously they met him in his luxurious apartment. And again, this is what they do. So because they have a business, i.e., sex tourism, they've got to make themselves look rich to, to not to appease, but to conclude the myth that white men are rich. So the guy got a nice apartment, you know, not far from their Crown Mall. And those apartments, there's apartments in Shashi, which is like a stone's throw away from their Crown Mall. And those apartments are very, very luxurious, unmarket apartments. You're talking about over $100 a night. Yeah, so it's not cheap. Over $100 a night. So the Russian guy got himself an apartment near Shiashi. Yeah, going for $100 plus a night. So that gives the aura to these girls who go to the apartment that this guy is wealthy, and then they will believe anything he says because of what they see. Yeah. And as the saying goes, monkey see, monkey do. Yeah. So this guy was able, so this guy, as part of his plan, yeah, got himself a luxury apartment to make it easy for him to convince the girls to have sex with him. So these Ghanaian girls, in their naivety and their self-hate and their love of white men, yeah, met this guy that you don't know from Adam. You don't know the guy from Adam. This is a Russian guy who's probably been in Ghana 1 week, couple of weeks at minimum. Come to Ghana. You didn't know the guy. But because of your self-hate, some Ghanaian women, because you don't like yourself, because you don't like black men, you meet a Russian guy at random in a shopping mall, give him your number. Now just imagine if a black man couldn't do that. You know, a black man go to a Crown Mall, try to talk to you. You wouldn't even talk to the man, right? Because in your eye, he ain't rich. You wouldn't even talk to the man, yeah, let alone give you his phone number or give you, yeah, your phone number. But a white man, yeah, you meet a white man, oh yeah. In your mind, white man equals rich. Yeah. So I'll give him my phone number and meet up with him. So this is the next point I want to make about the psychological fuck up, right, that some, if not most of our Ghanaian women have when it comes to white men. So because of the notion, the false notion of white supremacy, yeah, through religion, through the film, through TV, blah, 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 many Ghanaian African women believe that white men are rich. Yeah? They're rich, period. No questions asked. He's rich. He's white, so he must be rich. This is the perception of many black women, not just single, many black women, right, in Africa believe this to be true, that white man equals wealth. And this perception comes from a false notion, like I said, of white supremacy through the media, through the film, through television, etc. And so this has been systemic. This notion that these black Ghanaian African women have, that white man is wealthy or rich, is a systemic manipulation of the mind of the majority of African women to conclude to themselves that all white men are rich, or that most white men are rich. Yeah? And that comes from a colonized mindset, because what goes through your head to believe that because you see a white man in his white pale skin that you think is rich? Who propagated that to you? Who programmed that to you? Who made you think that whiteness equals wealth? This is the sort of programming, another sort of programming that many black women in Africa have been bombarded, but they can't see it. Because like Carter G. Woodson said, and Carter G. Woodson, for those of you who don't know, is the father of Black History Month. And in America and other parts of the Black African world, February is African History Month. And this year is special because this year marks the centenary, the 100-year anniversary of Carter G. Woodson initiating Black History Month in America in February 1926. Yeah? So this is the 100th anniversary of Black History Month. Yeah? In the African world, particularly in America. And Carter G. Woodson, right, wrote a famous book called The Miseducation of the Negro. And in that book, he made a very, very profound statement. He said, and I quote, when you control a man's thinking, you don't have to control his actions. You don't have to worry about his actions. Yeah. So to paraphrase it in terms of black women, African women, using Carter G. Woodson's reference, right? When you control the thinking of an African woman, you don't have to worry about her actions. Her programming makes it a necessity. So because the majority of black women have been programmed to think that white men is wealthy or that whiteness equals wealth, this is the action. Follow these white men, tourists, particularly sex tourists. And the sad thing is, right, a lot of these Ghanaian African women don't don't know that these white men are sex tourists because they see white men as, God, basically. Yeah. This, for all you know, this Russian guy could be an arm dealer, he could be a drug dealer, right? He could be a spy, he could be, in some dodgy cartel, he could be, an agent. You don't know because all you see is white skin. So he must be right. He must be okay. Yeah, and that is the psychological effect, the damaging psychological effect of 500 years of colonialism and neocolonialism. That and also this white Jesus rubbish about the religion. White Mary, white Jesus, the white disciple. This rubbish about Mary and Jesus being white. That's for another time. That's the result of that 500-year brainwashing, yeah, that has upholded whiteness and devalued blackness. This is why many of our black women in Africa, right, secretly want to marry a white man and secretly want to go out of Africa, go to Europe and North America and get them a white man. I know what I'm talking about because I've seen it myself in Ghana. Like I said, I can take you to Jokers in Accra nightclub. I can take you to Divinity nightclub in Accra. I can take you to Boomerang nightclub in Accra. I can take you to places like Frankie's, right? Ghanaian girls waiting for white men. I can take you to Accra Mall. Ghanaian girls waiting for white men. I can take you to that there's a bar in Osu. Yeah, Hemingway's bar, Osu. Yeah, waiting for white man. So I know where I'm talking about, beloved. In Kumasi, there's a strip from where the city hotel is, right, all the way down to 100 roundabout. Black women waiting for white men because there's a few clubs on that strip in Kumasi from City Hotel all the way to 100 roundabout. There's about 4 or 5 nightclubs, right, where these white men go to. Yeah, and I've seen myself in Kumasi and Accra, so I know where I'm talking about. So it's easy for a white man, right, who's a sex tourist to come to somewhere like Ghana and get laid, period. Now check this now. This, and I'll show you, and again, this is in, the clip that I'll leave you. Apparently, right, some of these Ghanaian girls wanted the man, didn't charge the man anything. Some of them charged as little as $8. Some charged $20. Yeah? What's that to a white man? Particularly somebody who has come prepared as a business, yeah, to film you with hidden cameras and later put it online, but I'll come to that in a minute. So $20, $8, nothing to him. Again, it says how cheap some of our Ghanaian women are. You are saying yourself cheap, $8, $20. This man came to Ghana with at least $1,000. You think he came with no money? You think this man came to Ghana to do his business with no money? Come on, beloved. Come on, wake up, man. This guy came with hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah? And I can bet you many money. He also went to the beach as well to solicit for girls. Yeah? And so these Ghanaian women, because they see a white man, they sell themselves cheap. Yeah? $20, $8, let's have sex. And the worst thing about it is that they had unprotected sex. So this Russian guy, who we don't know who he really is, because he came under a pseudonym, like I said, we don't know if it's a spy, an agent, an arms dealer, a drug dealer. We don't know anything about this guy. But what we do know is that he had unprotected sex with these Ghanaian women? Hmm? And do we know what that guy may have given some of those Ghanaian women? He may have given them STDs. He may have given them AIDS. He may have given them gonorrhea. Yeah. Some of you Ghanaian girls out there, you see a white man, you think you got money, and you want to sleep with him. You fling yourself at him, sleep with him, right? And particularly unprotectedly. You don't know what he's giving you. You don't ask questions. You don't know what he may have. Or because he's white, he can get away with it. Because of this psychological programming that you've imbibed unwittingly or wittingly, right? Thinking that every white man's rich. You slept with this guy, and this guy may have given you AIDS. He may have given you STD. He may have given you syphilis. He may have given you gonorrhea. You don't know. You don't know, beloved. So now, here what now? So this is what the guy did. Slept with all these Ghanaian women, and being the bastard that he is, being the sly fox that he is, obviously hidden cameras. And again, these Ghanaian women didn't know this. They didn't know this because white man, he's a white man, yeah. But the man knew what he was doing systemically. Look at the area that he chose, or what was told for him to go to Accra Mall. Look at the apartment that he took, Shashi, about 2 minutes walk from the Accra Mall, or let's say 5 minute walk from the Accra Mall. And then his hidden camera to boot, right? Filming every angle, yeah. And I'm going to be raw here, beloved. I'm going to be raw here, right? You know, we've seen some of the clips. I'm not going to put it in the footnotes, but we've seen some of the clips. The man doing anal sex with black women, or these Ghanaian women, anal sex, right up the ass, right, giving doggy style, 69, wheelbarrow, blowjob, right? This is what the Ghanaian women are doing to this Russian guy, yeah. And the Russian guy puts all this on his website. And apparently, from the information that we have, apparently he's got a couple websites that he uploads these videos on, and he charges a premium. Yeah. Same way that guy who does Africa Fuck Tour. Go and Google it. Africa Fuck Tour. I'll probably even leave the link. You can see it for yourself. Right. He charges a premium. It depends on on the subscription, right? But some as little as $5 a month, some as high as $50 a month to see these disgusting, lurid sex videos of white men having sex with African women. Yeah? So this is caused such a furore in Ghana about how this man was easily, without having to sweat, lure unsuspecting Ghanaian women to his apartment and then having, and the worst thing, having unprotected sex. And apparently now he's been wanted by the police, but the man gone, left Ghana a long time ago. I think he left Ghana a couple of days ago when this thing became viral. He left Ghana. So that also tells you about the porous nature of our immigration. You see in the UK how they're vetting people, make it hard to come to UK to come to this country. In Ghana, with every time they can in, particularly if he's white. Yeah, Brony. Yeah, hey, Brony. Me Brony, hey. Let him in. Brony, let him in. He's okay, Brony. You see Ghanaians? You see what I tell you about the white man? This cunning, tricky dog, like the air with it. Ayevu, cunning, tricky dog, coming to Ghana because it's easy. Well, he's been told it's easy. Come and get our women for his own morbid sexual fantasies, and then video it and then sell it. So in closing, this should serve as a warning, not just to Ghanaians, but to every single African country, particularly that are not Muslim or Islamic countries, that there are these white predators, these white sexual predators out there, right? Whose aim is to prey, not prey as in P-R-A-Y, but P-R-E-Y, prey on vulnerable, gullible, naive Ghanaian African women. 2, unknown to you, these guys, it's a business. Sex tourism is becoming a big business in the African continent. Yeah, because some of these white guys come to Africa purposely to have sex and then upload it on their website and charge premium rate. Yeah. Also, it shows you that the psychological damage that's been done to some black women in Ghana about whiteness, about how they view white men and how they view whiteness in their corrupted, twisted, colonized minds. Yeah. And lastly, shows you why that our immigration is very, very poor. Poor. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry can come in saying they're tourists, saying they're businessmen, right? But these people are sexual perverts, sexual predators coming to Ghana. And we don't vet them. We have no clue, no indication as to the nature of people coming into Ghana. Yeah. But because they're white, we allow them to get away with it. So if we should serve as a warning, yeah, not just to Ghana, but to all African countries that this sex tourism is real. This sex business is real, beloved. And we should not play with it because these guys are coming into Ghana, Africa, using tricks to lure naive African women into their bedrooms and having unprotected sex with them. Yeah, we don't know what they've got. AIDS, syphilis, whatever, we don't know. But this is the effect of valuing whiteness over yourself. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Ghanaian Focus with myself, Kwame, Ghanaian writer, broadcaster, journalist, historian, entrepreneur. In next week's show, 60 years since the refer of Kwame Nkrumah. We'll be doing a special feature on that. 60 years after Kwame Nkrumah got removed, and we'll do a special on that. So if you like what you hear, please share it to your friends, family, social media networks. Subscribe to Ghana African Focus on YouTube. Subscribe to Ghana African Focus on Spotify. And please, if you are interested in coming to Ghana, look out for Expat Live Ghana, Relocation Summit 2026, April 1, April 2. And I'll leave the link as to how you can register either virtually or, live at the African Regional Hotel in Accra. All right, so from myself, Kwame, and from all the crew here on Ghana African Focus, thanks so much for listening. And we will see you next week for some more Ghana Africa in Focus.